Hello, hi, welcome. Welcome to another podcast episode number 2. I haven't posted in a while, I'm sorry. I'm currently in the making of a video essay that's gonna probably take a long time. Like, I have it all written, but I still have to film it and edit it and do all, like, the post stuff. So, there's still kind of a lot of effort that's going into that, but I've been working hard on that, and I was sick for a few weeks, and it's been a month, so I'm here. This video was really unplanned. Like, I didn't really plan on doing it. I was just like came across some YouTube videos talking about this topic, and I talked with my friends a bit about this topic, and I was like, I need to rant about this. We're ranting about it today. The topic is why the internet is making everybody stupid. The internet is making people stupid. And I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with just like idiots. Like, everywhere I go is idiots, and it's crazy. And I'm I'm ranting and venting about it today. This is an unscripted video. If it is not of substance to you, I'm sorry. All right, a couple of things I wanted to address real quick is I did get this new microphone. The quality I think is not great, but it was really cheap. And I also have a ring light behind the camera, which is causing my vision to have like little rings in it, which is not very cool. It's probably too bright, but that's okay. So I have that equipment now, which is nice. I'm also wearing pajamas right now because today was pajama day at school. So yeah. I'm also going to be crocheting, working on this blanket that I started making yesterday. And it is an Easter blanket, and it is a gift for somebody. I can't say who yet, because they might be watching this. If you're curious, it's just a bunch of double crochets. So it's nothing fancy, but yeah. So the internet is like really great. Okay, we love the internet. I love the internet. The internet is revolutionary. You would be hard pressed to find a single person in the Western world like who hasn't been completely impacted by the internet and modern technology and everything that that comes with. And I think that there's a lot of beauty to that, and I think that that's really important. But I also think that it makes people stupid. And I don't think that it's always been like that. I think that for a long time, and even still now, it can be used to make people smarter. I think that it's full of a lot of really great educational content, but that's not really what I'm talking about, right? Like, I'm also not saying that this is like a blanket statement that like technology makes you stupid, because that's not exactly what I'm saying. I think that it is a few things. Like, I think that there's a few factors that go into this. The first one is that with easy access to limitless information at your fingers, which should make you smarter. Like, you should therefore be able to learn so much more, so much faster. And I mean, you can. I'm not saying that that's impossible. I would like to hope that that's what I'm doing. Um, but I think that that makes people forget how to think for themselves and forget how to go out and hunt for their own information. And then people are stupid. Like, what really got me, fixated on all of this in the first place is just being at school in my class and seeing just how many fully grown human beings who just cannot think for themselves. They can't read well, like, don't know anything about anything. And I know that I'm a pretty smart person, and sometimes I do have that feeling that, like, okay, this is like kind of a red flag. This is like, I know that this is like a bit of a toxic mindset, and I don't think that it's actually true, but sometimes I get a feeling that I'm the smartest person in the room. And, for most of my life, I'd be like, okay, that's not true. Like, everybody has their own strengths, everybody's smart in different ways. And although that is still true, I am feeling more and more like people are just stupid. I had a debate today in one of my classes, and the things that kids were saying, I was like, do you understand how logic works? Like, these are people with driver's license. Okay, these are people with jobs. These are people who are in committed relationships, and they don't know the definition of like the most basic words, and it's kind of scary. It's like, this is a really hard class too, by the way. Like, I feel so bad for teachers right now. I always feel bad for teachers. I mean, like, there's not a time when I don't feel bad for teachers, okay? They have to deal with stupid kids. Even if they're not like an elementary school teacher, they're going to be ready for, kids who don't know a lot. And that's what you expect in elementary school. But even in elementary school, once you get up to a certain point, like when you're seeing fourth and fifth graders and even sixth graders who like can barely read, even if they don't have dyslexia, um, kids who can barely read, who can barely do basic math. And I'm honestly, I'm one to talk. Okay, I'm so bad at math, it's insane. What the internet has to do with this is that I think that people are just so reliant on technology to do anything instead of using the internet as a resource to learn more information. There is an overwhelming amount of people, specifically young people, who always take the shortcuts. Every young person, honestly, every person is going to try to take shortcuts in things that they don't like to do. I mean, there's kids, a kid I sit next to in one of my classes always has ChatGPT open on his phone for every single test. What is your game plan in the long run? Like, how is that going to work out for you? Do I use ChatGPT on some of my assignments? Yes. But on a test? Like, okay, great. Now you got a 90% on your English test. First of all, chances are your teacher's going to know. Like, your teacher's going to know. Even if they don't, even if you get, your 90% on your essay or whatever, what is your game plan in the long run? You're not gaining skills. This can even go with just like kids are just so used to the internet thinking for them, making their thoughts for them, that they do not have to do any of the learning themselves and they do not have to put in the work for the learning themselves. And I'm not trying to generalize here. If you are like being, you know, honest, and if you have integrity and you are, actually working hard to prioritize your education, then that is absolutely good for you. And if you're not, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you're going to have to be ready for the consequences. I think that people can do what they want. Like I said, I use ChatGPT for a lot of my history assignments, not to do it for me, but to do the researching part for me. So I'm using it to collect information and then configure that information myself. It's really baffling just how like unintelligent some people are. And I think that for, a lot of my older childhood, teenage life, I was always just like, okay, that's just how some people are, I'm sure they're smart in other ways, but it's more than that. It's more than just that not being their strong suit. It's an actual incompetence. And I think that that is not something that people care about very much. And I think that education is very, very important to have an educated country and an educated world and an educated adult population. Okay, like right now, Gen Z like can't hold down jobs, and I think there's a few reasons for that, and maybe I'll get into that later. But like people my age cannot get jobs. I'm having a hard time finding a job, and I'm like a really good student and I'm really smart. But I think that it's not even just like a lack of informational knowledge, like not knowing how to do basic like grammar and math and understanding basic science and history and stuff like that. I think it's also a big lacking of people skills because, we grew up with kind of freedom that was both a blessing and a curse of just kind of being able to do whatever you want whenever you want, like socially. Because even if you couldn't make friends in real life, which I think was a struggle for a lot of, Gen Z kids, when kids have access to social media, it doesn't matter if they can't make friends in real life. Like they can just go online and hang out with people who have shared interests with them, be in online social circles or groups, communities where everybody has similar interests to them and they feel like they belong. And I think that there is absolutely a beauty in that and such a value in that. I mean, I've used that myself. Maybe say that there's like a TV show I'm really interested in and none of my friends like it. I can talk to people online about it, and that's great and that's wonderful, but it goes too far when it's kind of catering to people's every needs, and that's not good. It is just kind of unhealthy, I think, for people to just be so used to and so accustomed to being able to talk about whatever they want and expecting that other people will have some sort of like interest in that. And I'm absolutely guilty of this. I've definitely, gone on tangents about my interests to people who don't care. And I feel like that's not a crime. But what is at least not very socially appropriate is to completely expect all of the time to be made happy and to be the most important person in this room at all times. And I think that that was one of the flaws of the way that a lot of Gen Z was raised, which was, very well intended of, kind of the generations before us being told that you always have to fit in and being told that, maybe like you had to do certain things because of whatever it was, your gender or your class. Then when we were being raised, it was very like, you are a unicorn. You are the most unique and special person in the world. You are the most, nobody else in the world is like you. You are so unique and special, and you can do anything you want and achieve anything you want, and you do not let anybody stand in your way. And I think that that's a really great message. And I mean, it's not wrong. I'm not here to say that that's wrong. It's just not realistic when you get out into the real world. And I didn't think, like, when I was a kid, even up until like last year, there would definitely still be a really strong, and even now there's still a part of me that says like, absolutely, like I can do whatever I want. Nobody can stop me or get in my way. Like I am special, I am powerful, and you know, I think that that can get a little bit too far. And I think that that is probably one of the reasons that like, Gen Z is having a hard time holding down jobs is you can't talk like that to your boss. If, your boss is like, "Hey, do this." You can't be like, "No. I'm unique. I'm special and, I'm not going to do anything that an old man tells me to do." Okay, then you're going to get fired. Then don't work that kind of a job. Like it's hard, and I sound such like a checkmate liberals. You're not a special snowflake. You're a weak little pussy snowflake, and that's not what I'm trying to say. I know that I might be coming across as that, and I promise I'm not trying to come across as that, because people who talk like that are usually not talking about this kind of a problem. They're talking about like just people like expressing their identities, and that's very different and not what I'm talking about. Um, but it is still very important to have a work ethic and have morals where you are helping other people and being kind to other people. And yes, you can do what you want when you put your mind to it, but there's also like you can't expect other people to step out of their way to help you. Like that's not how it's going to work. And in many ways, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it. That is just kind of the reality of the way that things work. Going back to the internet again, I think that the internet creates, if you are on the internet, everything revolves completely around you. Even if you aren't famous, even if you are, like me and you've posted 3 YouTube videos and 1 YouTube short as of recording. When I'm posting a video, I am posting my video, and I am going to be seeing things which are catered to me, which kind of leads me into my next point, which is algorithms. I think that the algorithm, right? I feel like there's like the big capital A algorithm, which is just like a giant set of like ways that the internet tends to work. But then I think that there's lowercase a algorithm, which is more just like what's being catered to you personally. And I think that it really keeps everybody trapped in their little bubble. If it's your algorithm that's catering things for you, you're being trapped in your little bubble. You are possibly not seeing things from other people's points of views, and completely not your fault. And I don't just mean politically, because I mean, obviously that's a thing, that's a problem in news too. But more than just politics, I think it's like it is ingrained in everything. Like nowadays, it is ingrained in every single piece of our culture. Just how different everything is, and how everything is, so personalized, so hyper personalized. And I think that that also gives way to other bigger ethical problems like fast fashion. Trends come and go so quickly. Everything being so hyper personalized to you, I think that that spreads to other areas of your life, and I think that that can be very isolating. But I think that this kind of isolation is especially dangerous to those who are especially vulnerable to it. Younger people, you're not seeing at least not as much. You're not seeing, older people. You're really obsessed with like what's trending right now. Like most people who are on TikTok and Pinterest looking at trends are going to be younger people. It's just the reality of it. And the younger people are also more vulnerable to things like loneliness and isolation when they don't quite understand that, like, hey, like the internet is not the world. The internet is not the real world. And that's like important for us to think about more. And it is literally so important to do something real, do something like actually real. Okay, and I'm so guilty of this because I have been playing so much Minecraft recently. First of all, it's not cringe, it's fun. But it's taken up a lot of time. And sometimes I just need to do something that's like real and physical, like right now. This, making this blanket, which look how far I've come along already just in this amount of time. I have like 3 more rows in. Wow. But sometimes it's something as simple as going for a walk or having a phone call with your friends. Sometimes it's literally touching grass. Like I think that that's what all this is about, is that people just need to touch grass. And I think that even people who are like smart because of the internet are not always doing it in the smartest way. I can't even tell you how many times you'll go online and you'll see people having a political argument about something that is, in the grand scheme of things, so unimportant. And there's so many bigger political problems in the world, especially in America right now. I would say, people can do what they want and they can say whatever they want, as long as they're respectful to other people. And it is very important to be respectful to people. But at the same time, you cannot force other people to say what you want. And if you don't like it, just go talk to other people. Okay? Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, neither of these people are going to be changing their minds. I don't like the phrase the world doesn't revolve around you. It's more that the world doesn't revolve around everybody. It revolves around, everyone as a whole, not anybody individual. It does not matter how much you argue, because there are actual people who are actually being really oppressed and like killed and hurt because of problems like this on a much bigger scale in the real world. Very few people are being killed over the internet. And I think that, wasting our time and energy fighting about these stupid, petty things, like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I have had some drama at school recently, and another little red flag about me is that I kind of love drama. And it's not, I don't like causing drama and I don't like stirring up drama or making drama worse. But whenever there's drama going on, I better be informed. Okay, I want to know all of it. And part of it's like detective work. Part of the drama is like figuring out what's going on. And right now, I don't want to say too much of what's going on in case the people involved might be watching. But there are, on 2 occasions right now, it's literally happening with 2 people I know. They're just coming up with like really crazy lies and like lying about things. And it's really dumb. One of them is a pathological liar, like a known, established pathological liar. And I think that they might be trying to like make up bigger and bigger lies to see what they can get away with, which is dangerous. Hopefully we can be like, hey, stop. Like, we know that you're lying. You're not going to get away with this, and this is not an okay thing to lie about. And then the other person, I think, like kind of accidentally over exaggerated a story of something that's going on in their life and then doubled down on it and keeps adding more and more, just like so ridiculously like false details to it that's like obviously untrue. In both of these scenarios, it's almost certainly not true, but in both cases, it's like such a serious thing that they're lying about that to accuse them of lying about it is like really insensitive if they are telling the truth. So that's hard. But oh my gosh, this is literally proof why I need to script my videos, because how did I go from talking about how AI makes people stupid to this? So I need to script my videos, which kind of, it's nice that I had this experience to learn that, but it also sucks because that takes like 2 hours. All right. Well, yeah, I feel like I had more things that I wanted to say, and now I don't remember. Um, so that's okay. But oh my gosh, my yarn is tangled, you guys. No, it's a tragedy. Okay, I don't know if this is ever any of you yarn folk out there who are experienced with yarn. How do you stop it from coming out of both sides at the same time? Like, I grab the yarn from like the side, where it's like cut, and then there's also one that's like in the center where it's cut, and somehow the one in the center always comes out and gets tangled up with the other ones on the outside. And if you do not knit or crochet, and you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, I envy you. You're lucky, okay? Because this is a disaster. No wonder people like video games instead. Goodness, what the hell? Thank you for listening. If you're this far, honestly, I'd be surprised if anybody got this far. If you are watching it on YouTube, you can also listen to it on my Spotify podcast, which will be linked down below, and vice versa. If you did find this on Spotify, which I doubt, it's a lot easier to find things on YouTube than on Spotify. Then you can also find it on the other though. You can find me on Instagram. That'll also be linked below. I would really like to do like a Q&A video. I think that would be fun. Those are always fun to watch and fun to make. So if you have a Q for me that I may have an A to, you can DM me on Instagram or leave a comment below on the YouTube video. I guess you could also leave a comment on the podcast episode. I just might not see that as easily. Yeah, I'd love to see all of your questions, all of them that are like obviously appropriate. Um, any questions for me, like advice that you want my help on? I think that I'm pretty good at giving advice. Maybe this episode didn't help prove that because I just yapped and didn't say anything. All right. Well, thank you for watching or listening or whatever. Even if this was just on the background in a different room and you didn't hear anything I said, that's okay. You probably didn't miss out. Next videos will be scripted. New video coming out as soon as I make it. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I think that's all for today. Um, Thank you for watching. You'll see me next time.